Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the launch of the EV Charging Guidebook for shopping malls. Today, we'll be talking a little bit more about why it is important to have EV charging infrastructure at some of the strategic locations. One such location being shopping malls. And then secondly, how can this guidebook help mall owners as well as consumers, customers who are going to shopping mall, one, to get their vehicle charged, but also to kind of upgrade their whole experience of shopping in Delhi, especially in the shopping malls. So before we kickstart this process forward, let me invite Mr. Jasmine Shah, Vice Chairperson of Dialogue and Development Commission, to give some inaugural remark, and then we will move forward with today's presentation.
Thank you, Amit, and warm welcome to everyone who has joined us online for this very important launch of the EV Charging Guidebook for shopping malls in Delhi. I see many of the senior representatives from various prominent malls of Delhi and the Shopping Centers Association of India who have also joined us. We're very glad all of you could join us today, as well as members from the media. As you're all aware, Delhi government has been working relentlessly on driving the agenda for clean mobility in the national capital. In August 2020, Honorable CM Arvind Kejriwal ji launched and notified Delhi's EV policy, which was a landmark policy in terms of marking a big shift in terms of the actions that states in India can take towards promoting e-mobility. From offering very generous subsidies to laying out a comprehensive roadmap for charging infrastructure, for recycling, and a host of other areas, Delhi spelled out a very comprehensive strategy on how electric mobility will be promoted in Delhi. And over the last 1.5 years, it's been close to 1.5 years since the launch of Delhi's EV policy. We are very glad to note that the implementation has been very robust, has been very smooth on the ground. Various entities of Delhi government, led by the Transport Department, which is the nodal entity for the implementation of EV policy, Dialogue and Development Commission, which is the think tank of Delhi government and working very closely with transport as well as the power department in terms of various aspects of charging infrastructure, and ATL and power department, the Delhi Transco Limited, which is the nodal agency for charging infrastructure. A lot of work has been happening. We're also very grateful that we have partners such as WRI, who have been working with us every step of the way, be it planning the locations of public charging stations that Delhi government is itself setting up in various parts of Delhi, to creating a momentum for private charging stations. Because one of the things that we have seen that, after Delhi's EV policy has been launched, because of the rollout of subsidies and host of other incentives, we are seeing a huge jump in the sales of EVs. As on date, the EVs constitute 9% of all new vehicle sales in Delhi, which is today the highest in India. I understand the all India average is around 1.6%. But that's not our goal. Our goal is to reach 25% of new vehicle sales by 2024, which is just 2 years away. And if we have to go for that, then charging infrastructure has been the biggest problem, we are aware, not just in Delhi, but in all parts of India. Whichever cities and countries around the world have successfully made the jump at a mass level to electric mobility has happened on the back of a very strong charging infrastructure. And keeping that in mind, we were very clear when we set up our EV policy that it is not just public charging stations that need to be set up, but we need to ensure that each and every place where a vehicle stops, a charging point should be. And I think that is the big radical shift that we spelled out in our policy. So it's very interesting data that 95% time of a car in a day is spent in parking, be it at home, be it at office, be it at shopping center that you go to, and such places. So if 95% of the time a car is spending not moving but in parking, then why can't we create charging points where the vehicle is already parking? And that is where, because the moment you start telling people that no, go to a charging station and wait for half an hour even or 1 hour to charge, then you've lost the race in terms of convincing them to switch to e-vehicles. And that is the reason in our EV policy, when we announced it and CM announced it in August 2020, we were the first state government to offer a subsidy for private entities to set up EV chargers. At that time, no state or no city in India was offering subsidy for private chargers. By private, I mean, mall owners. Mall owners can set this up in their parking lots and they can run it the way they wish to. And the government will provide a subsidy. Office complexes, office buildings, they can set it up for their own employees and government will give a subsidy. RWS can do it and the government will give it a subsidy. So we had set up a target that 30,000 such chargers, for 30,000 such chargers, Delhi government will give a subsidy. And the entire framework for that as to how the subsidy will be given, how can you select a safe and high quality charger, that framework was put together over the course of last 1 year, in fact. And in November of 2021, a few months back, Delhi government launched India's first single window facility for installation of these EV chargers by any private entity. And by that we mean that it is today possible to set up a slow charger in Delhi in merely 2,500 rupees. This includes a 6,000 rupee subsidy from the government, and also within 7 days. Both of these things are possible only in Delhi today, that within 7 days you have to, and the entire process is, the single window facility is offered by the discoms of Delhi. So if you are a office complex, if you are a mall, all you need to do is lift the phone and speak to your discom and the process gets initiated. The government subsidy is rolled into it. Within 7 days, the chargers will be set up. And it is also interesting that you don't have to apply for a separate tariff for EV. Delhi also offers the most progressive tariff for electric vehicle charging. So this is especially important for shopping malls because otherwise the commercial tariff is higher. I think it's around 7 or 8 rupees. But EV charging tariff in Delhi is only 4.5 rupees. So even if you're drawing from your commercial connection and setting up EV chargers, for those EV chargers, you will not be paying the commercial tariff, you will pay the EV tariff. And all of this is possible only because of this single window facility that has been rolled out. Today, we are going to be launching very soon this guidebook because we are of the firm belief that shopping malls are our partners in terms of pushing the agenda for e-mobility. All Delhiites visit shopping malls on weekend for entertainment, for shopping, for food, for various reasons. And if we can make a statement, if all the shopping malls of Delhi can make a statement that each and every shopping mall has electric vehicle charging points, slow chargers, fast chargers, then it will send a huge signal in the mind of people of Delhi that, they can buy e-vehicles. They don't have to worry about charging for 1 hour, 2 hours. Normally people visit for at least a couple of hours when they go to shopping malls. And I think this guidebook is in that sense very significant, that it puts down step-by-step guidelines as to how shopping mall owners can avail all the facilities and incentives of Delhi government. And within, as I said, 7 to 14 days, set up these charging infrastructure. So we are very glad, we are thankful to WRI for advising us, for working together with DDC. This is the second guidebook that we are launching. Many of you would recall in December, we launched the first guidebook, which was targeted at workplace charging for office complexes. After that, shopping malls is next in line, and we are very hopeful that the mall owners of Delhi will set a benchmark, not just for Delhi NCR, but malls across India, that sustainable mobility, fighting air pollution is not just the dream and vision of CM Arvind Kejriwal and Delhi government. It has to be the dream and vision for each and every business, each and every citizen who's living in Delhi. And towards that end, government has done its bit. Government has put out a very progressive policy. Government has put incentives in the pocket of business owners if you were to install a charging station. And today we are releasing this step-by-step guide. From here onwards, it is the responsibility of mall owners to take this step forward, and government will work with them every step of the way. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Jasmine. As you rightly said, one of the key issues surrounding charging of electric vehicle, one is the availability of charging, but also the charging time. Now, if we can multitask charging with some other activities, then I think it's a win-win situation. So typically studies show that in Delhi, an average customer, and this is pre-COVID data, spends about 90 minutes in shopping mall. Now that is an opportune time to charge the vehicle. And if that happens, then it's a win-win situation because the customer can charge the vehicle when he's shopping. The shopping malls also provide some value-added services. It's really stepping up the game. Now, with this in background, this guidebook talks about the step-by-step process. So let's understand a little more on what does this guidebook contain. So I will request my colleague Garima to make a quick presentation on this guidebook. Over to you, Garima.
Thanks, Abhay. Welcome everyone to the launch of EV Charging Guidebook for shopping malls. As most of us are aware, the Delhi government has launched its EV policy in August 2020 to promote the adoption of EVs in the city with the aim to improve Delhi's air quality by promoting rapid adoption of EVs. Since the launch of the policy, the government has taken several progressive and innovative initiatives to promote the electric vehicles. One such initiative is the launch of single window facility for installation of EV charging points in private and semi-public spaces. After the launch of this single window facility, we have been launching a series of guidebooks which addresses the requirements of that particular stakeholders. The first guidebook that we launched in December was for corporates because they have specific requirements when it comes to EV charging. And this second guidebook that we are launching is for shopping malls, which addresses the requirements specific to shopping malls. These progressive initiatives have led between September to November 2021, EVs accounted for 9% of the vehicle sales in Delhi, whereas the national average was 1.6%. Now, electric vehicle market in India is growing at a CAGR of 44%, and it is estimated that by 2027, 63.4 lakh vehicles will be sold, which will be electric vehicles. Now, why shopping malls should consider being part of this growing market is because it has been observed that drivers usually charge their vehicles in the idle time when the vehicle is standing idle. And apart from workplace and home, they end up spending a lot of time in the marketplaces, including shopping malls. So, which is why shopping malls should plan to be part of this growing market because EVs is the future in India. There are several benefits that providing EV charging facility can help shopping malls. One is EV charging facility can result in additional footfall because in future, the selection of shopping malls will be largely based on whether or not that shopping mall provides EV charging facility. So the decision of selecting a shopping mall, the facility provided can break or make the decision of driver. Of choosing whether or not to go there. The second benefit is improved visibility of the mall. When a shopping mall starts providing EV charging facility, the visibility of that mall on Google Map and various applications that provide EV charging services, the location of mall will be shown on those applications. So this will result in improved visibility of that shopping mall. EV charging facility has also the potential of becoming additional revenue stream for the shopping malls because in future, a major part of the vehicles will be electric vehicle, and when customers will come to the shopping mall to charge their vehicle, it can result in additional revenue stream for shopping malls. And last but not the least, this will also promote green image of the shopping mall and contribute to the cleaner air. There are several other benefits described in the guidebook. Now, there is need for EV charging guidebook for shopping malls, because shopping malls have specific requirement when it comes to EV charging. Installing EV chargers is a newer concept in India, and it requires a lot of planning and series of decision making. So through this guidebook, we have made this decision making process a lot easier by describing step-by-step process for accurate planning and implementation. The guidebook also provides several best practices for long-term planning, and also a lot of strategies to minimize the cost, the overall cost of the project. The guidebook also provides important resources and information, such as the process of single window process, all the contact details and website links on how the shopping mall can go about this process, and also various details such as the chargers, various type of chargers, their usage, their cost, and which vehicle can that charger be used to charge for. Now, we have taken a 6-step process to describe very easily how shopping malls can go about providing EV charging facility in their parking space. Starting from understanding the customer requirement, we have described 6 types of customers that a shopping mall can target. Not just the retail customers, but also the fleet operators. So, for example, retail customers are more likely to visit the shopping mall in the afternoon or evening time. In order to maximize the utilization of the chargers, shopping malls can tie up with various fleet operators who can come and get their vehicles charged during the night. And similarly, we have described 6 types of customers which shopping mall can target in order to maximize the utilization of the chargers. We have also described important parameters through how to do the need assessment. The second step is to determine the type and quantity of chargers. So we have described various factors that shopping malls can consider while selecting EV chargers. And we have also described various popular charger types and their properties. The third step is to choose the right business model. We have described 2 business models. One is CAPEX model and OPEX model. We have described advantages and disadvantages of these 2 business models. And also based on their risk appetite and how much investment the shopping mall wants to make, they can choose from these 2 different business models. The fourth step is the infrastructure planning, because putting an EV charger requires a lot of infrastructure planning in terms of selecting the right location and also planning the electrical infrastructure. So we have provided in detail guidelines on how to select the location and how to go about the planning of electrical infrastructure. Next comes the installation of chargers and device usage policies. So we have, from the past experience, after connecting with different stakeholders, we have given detailed usage policies so as to maximize the life of the chargers and minimize the damage to the chargers. Last is the ongoing maintenance of EVSE. Here we have described what points should be kept in mind while selecting a maintenance contract, and also we have described how Delhi's single window process, the facilities that they provide regarding the maintenance of the EVSE. The guidebook also describes in detail the single window process that shopping mall owners can utilize for installation of EV chargers. The single window process is a hassle-free installation of EV charger process that has 2 payment options: CAPEX model, where upfront payment can be made, and OPEX model, where the payment can be made in installations. There is 100% subsidy for the first 30,000 chargers, a subsidy of up to INR 6,000 on AC and LEV AC chargers, AC 001 and LEV AC. So the person can apply for chargers without EV meter and with EV meter. The guidebook describes in detail both the process, all the benefits provided under the single window process, and all the contact details and necessary resources that can come handy. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Garima, for this wonderful presentation. As you rightly said, it really talks about the entire process of finding the demand to getting the necessary approvals, as well as how to go about installing the chargers. So with this, now I would like to request the co-authors of this guidebook, Sijoy Varghese from State EV Cell, Government of National Capital Territory, Delhi, as well as Garima, to please join so that we can formally launch the guidebook. So if you could come up on the dais, please, and then we can take a small photo op with the launch. We'd like to thank all the authors as well as people who have supported this guidebook in terms of reviewing it as well as providing feedback. So we also have some guests who have joined us. We would like to hear from them, starting with Mr. Mukesh Kumar, who is the Chairman and Director on board Shopping Centre Association of India, SCAI. Over to you, Mr. Kumar. Sir, if you could unmute yourself. Yeah, Mr. Kumar, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know if it was covered earlier. No, so let me first once again thank you for inviting for this launch event. The guidebook is very, very comprehensive, and I think everything has been really taken care of very, very well, very meticulously planned, and the way it has been put in the guidebook is going to be very easy for the shopping malls. Having said that, I must say that the initiative taken by the DDC and the Delhi government is very, very commendable. They've done a great job in this. Having so many malls in the city, almost 35 to 40 malls, and having 15,000, 20,000 car parking slots, and it's an ideal place for anybody to do parking of the cars. And the dwell time is around 2.5 to 3 hours on an average. Some people stay for more than 3 hours, some people stay on to 1 hour. I think it's an ideal place for charging your car. So I think it's a great initiative. In terms of capex to opex, that is going to be individual malls decision, because they will need to decide what kind of model they want to go with. And I believe we have confirmation from a few malls in Delhi already, Pacific, DLF, Select City. We'll also have attended to a lot of other malls in Delhi to join this effort, because this is going to add a lot of value to the mall as well as to the customers. So when they come to the mall, they look at some place where they can charge. Although the number of vehicles are very little as of now, but I'm sure it's going to grow with the initiative by the central government and the state government as well. So the number is going to go very, very high next 1 or 2 years time. So it's the right time to get into this, which is for the convenience for everyone, for the customer, for the government, and for the mall as well. So I must compliment everybody. And since I have my friends Pushpa, Abhishek, and Yogeshwar, they want to add something to this, what kind of model they want to go through, I'll leave it on them, because and they've already taken initiative. So thank you very much. And as I say, it's a great initiative by the government.
To Mr. Abhishek Bansal, who is the Executive Director at the Pacific Mall. Over to you, Mr. Bansal.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Like my colleague Mukesh mentioned, this is a very welcome step and shows the great futuristic vision of our Honorable CM of Delhi, that they have launched such a great initiative of the EV Charging Guidebook for shopping malls in Delhi. We as shopping mall operators always are trying to look for new and various ways of bringing more and more footfall to the mall so that the malls do well. And this is a great addition to the services that a normal shopping center offers. To add to that, I would just like to mention Pacific Group has already installed 9 EV charging stations at 2 of their centers, one in Dwarka and one at Tagore Garden, in collaboration with Tata's. So the EV chargers are already operational, and now we are installing another 6 EV charging stations for two-wheelers in collaboration with the Hero Group. So we are already aligned with the vision of the Delhi government of making Delhi a lesser polluted city, and these small steps go a long way in achieving the dream that our Honorable CM of Delhi has envisioned for Delhi. And if all of us work together, I'm sure we will achieve it very soon. On behalf of the Shopping Centers Association, we are always happy to participate in such initiatives of the Delhi government, and we really appreciate the guidebook that has been launched. If there's anything else that we can help in magnifying this initiative, we will be happy to do so. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Bansal, and I'll come back to you with a follow-up question.
Sure.
But before I come back, let me ask Mr. Yogeshwar Sharma, who's the ED and CEO of Select City Walk, to make his remark. Over to you, Mr. Sharma. Sorry, sir, we can't hear you. If you could unmute yourself.
Yeah, thanks for unmuting me. Yeah, so very delighted to be part of this new journey which has started from today, in the sense that the guidebook has been now unveiled, and we have like already installed a couple of charging stations, and our intention is to go beyond, I mean, many charging stations, so that, I mean, while people are shopping here, or they especially come to charge and shop, I mean, either way is fine and welcome. So very happy, and we must congratulate all the people behind this initiative, and starting it much before, I mean, it becomes a really need. The need is already there. We track our cars, and many cars are now converting into EV, and only hassle they talk about is that the charging stations, and they should not get stuck with low charging energy. So as a mall, we have like 800,000 slots of parking with us, parking base, and we will not only 5%, we will go beyond that, and would like to support so that people are so comfortable coming to shopping centers for shopping and for charging. Thank you very much, and all the very best to all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma. I would now like to request Pushpa Bector, Executive Director, DLF Shopping Malls, for her opening remarks. Yeah, if you could unmute yourself, please. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much. Well, I can tell you this, that we in DLF Malls are welcoming this initiative by the Delhi government. And it's great to see that there has been a business model adoption and a very professional approach to the entire EV charging guidebook. And the book is very informative. I'm sure the Delhi malls will benefit a lot. More importantly, I think as a Delhiite, one can clearly see the requirement for reduction in pollution, and this will go a great way in, and it's a great step in that direction. We at DLF Malls, we have 4 properties, all of them having around 800 car parks, so the numbers are quite sizable, and we would like to definitely participate in this initiative and see that the EV vehicles are encouraged. with charging. More than, I think, people being able to charge, it's also the awareness, and we'll be happy to build awareness with our consumers in collaboration with the Delhi government. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Ms. Pushpa. So one of the things that we have seen, especially from the Delhi government's policy, which talks about 5% parking for electric vehicles. I wanted to ask all the four guests, one, is there any timeline when we can look at the malls in Delhi will have at least 5% parking with charging infrastructure? So one, any outlook on the timeline? And second, are we also looking at going beyond this 5% mandate? And if so, any outlook on that as well? So maybe I will request in the same order with Mr. Mukesh first for his reaction on this 5% parking for electric vehicles. Yeah, so let me, you have to unmute yourself, please.
Thank you very much. I think these numbers of 3%, 5%, it all depends on how many vehicles are coming to the mall. They require this charging facility. I think initially may start with numbers. I leave it on a Delhi mall to decide what the number they're going to start with. But I think numbers are going to be very, very fluid. It depends how many vehicles are coming. And I don't think they'll be remaining in 5%. It may go further depending on the requirement. So, I know 5%, if you look at 1,000 car parking, you think 50, it's not really a large number to start with. It all depends what infrastructure the mall currently has. Can they provide 5% to start with, or maybe build over 6 months to 9 months to reach up to 5%? But I think it's this number, the percentage will go on changing. It will be sooner or later it will become requirement from the mall itself that we must have more than 5%. Why 5%? It may go to 10%, 15% in terms of numbers of vehicles coming to the mall. I want to just add one more thing here in terms of the cost of this charging chargers. In Maharashtra, Tata has come to a policy not to charge anything. They are doing this from their own pocket. They are putting all the charging stations for all the malls from their own pocket. They say you don't have to pay anything. They'll build their infrastructure, and they can give us a part of their revenues what they collect from the charging stations. Just the information to you. I'm not saying that you have to change anything. Just the information since I had, I thought I'll share that with you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Kumar. Mr. Bansal, you talked about some of the malls already having charging infrastructure, and you are planning to have some more. Any outlook on this 5% or any plan to go beyond the 5% mandate as the Delhi policy talks about?
So, sir, what we thought was we started with 5 stations at the mall, thinking that we will need to see what the response is, because it may the responses may differ from area to area even within Delhi. So I thought that we should start with the 5 stations first and see how the public responds. If the response is very good or sooner, and if we see that there is a waiting at the charging state up to, so for example, a 5% would mean say about 50 car parks for us. So scaling is not the issue, especially with the scheme that the Delhi government has launched. It is really how the acceptability will happen. I think over 6 months to 12 months, we will see that as and when EVs increase on the roads, the demand will also increase, and we will basis on that demand. I don't see that as a challenge. I think between 6 to 12 months, we should be able to get that number.
Thanks a lot. And especially thank you for highlighting this 6 to 12 months as a time frame to get this 5%, the 5% charging. Mr. Yogesh Sharma, any kind of commitments or outlook from you on the selection walk?
Yes, I mean, I completely agree with Abhishek and Mukesh. I mean, I think even it can be done much faster. Within next quarter, I think we should be able to put together. And as the number of vehicles increases, so ramping it up will not be a challenge at all. I mean, initially we may face some little bit of issues of understanding the process and getting it done, taking the input from the guidelines issued, and then internal procedure of getting approvals. So I think within the next quarter, we should start the process. And then as the number increases, we will wrap it up and will not limit only to 5%. As the numbers grow, we'll continue to grow the charging stations without any limitations, because this initiative is not, I mean, it's a very, very critical. It may seem like a small step, but it's the beginning of a big journey, which for Delhi government has started on early, like very quickly. And this is going to go very, very far, and we will fully support it. No hesitation in implementing this.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Sharma. Ms. Pushpa, you spoke about raising awareness, and I think that is also a critical aspect of increasing the EV uptake. In that sense, having charging infrastructure at shopping malls is also a way of raising awareness around electric mobility uptake. So, any reflections on you on this 5% or going beyond this 5% mandate?
So, like both my colleagues spoke earlier, the malls will be reacting to consumer requirements. And it's a bit of a chicken and egg in that sense. And I'm delighted to know that 9% of new vehicles are EV. And you will also be delighted to know that millennials today are making a clear choice of EV over normal petrol or diesel vehicles. So there is an awareness amongst the younger generation, a little bit more than the older. And malls is a reflection of that. We are a social community, and we're a reflection of what's happening, and we'd like to be on trend. So I don't think it's 5% or 10% that should be the benchmark. It's the movement. We have to start a movement, and this movement will then raise and have its own organic growth. Yes, 40-50 of the spaces, car parks within DLF malls will look at converting over a period of 6 to 12 months, like Abhishek said, with EV charging spots. However, I think it will be an organic momentum that will gain as the consumers will start driving out EV. We at the malls will have to respond to it effectively, and we are more than ready to do so because we have to show the path.
Thanks a lot. And I think what's really interesting is all the 4 representatives have really committed that they will achieve this 5%. But they've also said that 5% is just a number and they would like to go beyond the number. So I think that's really a very strong and a tangible commitment. So I would now request Jasmine. Jasmine, if you heard from the shopping mall owners and the associations on their commitment, any reflections on what you heard and what can be done to further expedite the process?
No, so first of all, I must thank and welcome the commitments that both, I think, as a in principle commitment that both from the Shopping Center Association of India as well as the 3 prominent mall groups of Delhi have made today, that they stand fully committed towards this vision of making Delhi the EV capital of India, the vision pronounced by Honorable CM. And slowly, and I think the what we're hearing is that roughly in a 6 months time frame, they feel this is achievable. That 5%. Earlier we heard that if there are let's say around 40 shopping malls in Delhi with around 20,000 parking lots, then 5% translates into 1,000 EV charging points, and that's not a small number. 5% may sound less, and we obviously will be thrilled if many of you go beyond 5% in the next 6 months. But I think somewhere targets have the power of binding us all to a common agenda and a common action, right? Some of you may want to do it in 3 months. Some of us may want to do more than 5% in 6 months. But if we are collectively agreeing that as a minimum agenda and as a minimum commitment towards clean air, 5% is achievable and doable within 6 months, and especially with the incentives and the support Delhi government is offering and the step-by-step guide, step-by-step assistance that is provided in the guidebook, then I think today we commit ourselves to this vision. Delhi government, over and above what we have already put together in terms of this guidebook and incentives, we also commit one additional thing, that we have a functional state EV cell And for all the malls of Delhi who want to achieve this target in the next 6 months, we will provide hand-holding assistance. We will have our team members in the transport department, in the state EV cell, who will work with you at any point in time you face any issues with approvals or any kind of even a technical query. We are there to work together with you. But I think today we have to make that commitment. I also hear that yes, it will be organic. More vehicles will come. You'll have to go beyond. But I think the chicken and egg has to be broken by either the chicken or the egg. And I can tell you the numbers of Delhi speak for themselves. In 2020, we had around 12,000 electric vehicles that were registered in Delhi. Last year, that number has reached 26,000. 26,000 new electric vehicles have come on the streets of Delhi in 2021. I'll not be surprised in the course of 2022 if it goes more than double, more than even 50,000. So I think point of it is that basic visibility of EV charging stations, 5% translates to mostly around 50 points in each of your malls, itself is going to make sure that consumers who are buying, or the people of Delhi who are buying EVs, get attracted and they come towards these malls. And again, I welcome the commitment that all of you are making. View as Delhi government as a partner in this entire process. This is our job doesn't end at just launching the guidebook, but we'll work together with each of you and make sure that today we are in early Feb. So 6 months from now, we will do another event and celebrate the fact that all the malls of Delhi have equipped themselves at least 5%. And it doesn't need to be, I do see the tendency that many of the malls are putting up expensive chargers, high powered chargers. A small number of them may be necessary, but putting slow chargers is very simple, very cost effective, and doesn't take any time. And the good thing is that they cater to 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, for all kinds of vehicles. So I think with the kind of guidance that is provided in the guidebook, I'm sure all of you will find it very comfortable to achieve the target of 5% EV charging points in your parking lots.
Thanks a lot, Jasmine. And I think absolutely, I think the commitment that has been made is very exciting. And the reason is simple, as Jasmine said, that till about 3 years back, electric vehicle registration in Delhi was less than 1% of all the vehicle registered. Now that number has gone up to 9% in the last quarter of last year. And going forward, we think this number will only grow. The question for us is, how can we further accelerate this adoption? One of the things that has been really came out from this COVID pandemic is the need for cleaner air. And I think that we have seen is now becoming a kind of a requirement for a lot of people who are looking at how can they contribute towards their bit on cleaning air, and adoption of electric vehicle is one such strategy. So Delhi is taking a lead, and we are really excited that all of us are helping the government of Delhi to kind of advance and become the lighthouse city for electric vehicle adoption in India. We've got some requests on the chat box, people asking if they can get access to the PDF of this file. Yes, we will post it on the social media handles. The link, you can download this guidebook, as well as you can circulate among your peers and friends who want to know more about. So that is available on DDC website as well. So before we close, let me formally thank the co-authors of this guidebook, Jasmine, Garima, and Sijoy. I would also like to thank Nikita and Rama for providing the support in making this guidebook happen. Also like to thank the team from DDC and WRI for organizing this interesting virtual workshop on the lines of the guidebook. I once again thank you, all the guests who have come and joined us. With this, we will end this session. But again, thank you, and look forward to contributing in accelerating the electric vehicle adoption in Delhi. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And leave the meeting.